Yo, yo, yo! Welcome back to the MMA Short Show. As always, your boy, Steven Moustaris. And, I just broke down just how big of a year it was for 2024, man. To be a fan of MMA, for the UFC, another record-shattering year. Some of the biggest fight cards, some of the biggest events, some of the biggest fights, man. We are lucky to be alive right now. The Sphere, good old UFC 300, all around amazing. I broke down 10 of the biggest breakthrough fighters of 2024. But with all this being said, man, I did want to sit here and just kind of break down, the other end of the fight game, the sad part of the fight game. You got the winners, but you also always have a loser in a fight. And when it comes to 2024, a lot of dreams came true. A lot of prospects, came out and are chasing their dreams. But when it comes to some of the fighters, man, a lot of the guys have fallen off. A lot of their dreams have gotten absolutely shattered this year. So I wanted to look at about 7 fighters that have fallen off this year. And let me sit here real quick and, explain. When I say fall off, I just mean strictly, when bluntly honest, when it comes to their title hopes or their top 5, top 10 contendership anymore. It's done with, if we're being honest, for these fighters. So let's get into it. Number 1, you have fallen off. Colby Covington. You could argue last year after the Leon Edwards fight, you could tell that he was pretty much done. And I just don't think he's got, maybe he's still got the top 5 in him, but he definitely didn't have a championship in him anymore. But then you heard the whole, we broke his foot. So you want to give him the benefit of the doubt. And then he tries to come back out last part of the year, last main event of the year. He tries to come back out and fight somebody that he thought could be easy for him. And of course, the first time this man actually fights an up-and-coming killer, he gets his ass handed to him. And sure, if you guys are Colby fans, you still have something to hold on to. You can still sit there and say, oh, he was coming back in that fight. He was looking good. He might have got him tired by the end of that fight. Quit lying. We all know what we saw. It's Joaquin Buckley. Yes, did he make top 10 breakthrough fighter of the year this year for me? Yes, he did. Going 4-0 and doing what he did this year, yes, it was impressive. But is this man Shavkat Rakhmonov? Is this man Ian Gary? Is this man JDM? Is this man Leon Edwards? Is this man Kamaru Usman? No. And the fact that this man Colby Covington goes out there, we just got to be bluntly honest, man. He doesn't have it anymore. He might have arguably never had it. Getting lucky wins over a 50-year-old RDA and a 50-year-old Robbie Lawler and a 50-year-old Damian Maia, that's going to be quite easy to go on a winning streak if you're that good in the UFC. Like for us, no. For the average person, hell no. That's going to be hard. But for these guys that we're talking about, that top echelon of the sport, you should run through those guys at your time in your career. So for him to go out there and start fighting Usman and losing and start fighting good old, Leon Edwards and anybody that's not 50 years old like Jorge Masvidal, yeah, he gets his ass handed to him. He has no striking. He has nothing to set up with grappling anymore. I don't even think he's as good as a grappler or a wrestler like we've always said he is. I don't think he is. I think he just got the cardio. And even with this cardio, he's just slow now. He has nothing to set up. You can't go in here one-dimensional anymore. So unless that man's going to change everything up, you have fallen off, sir. And there's still chances you can get wins if they get you back in there with maybe Jorge Masvidal since he got re-signed, or maybe like somebody like Gilbert Burns. But for the most part, buddy, you fell off. You're done. We don't even want to see you fight anymore. So number 2, let's get into it. This one right here probably hurts the most because I don't like him, but I definitely thought that John Jones fight was just, John Jones is just that good. And we learned this year that no, that's not the case at all. This man just doesn't care. He doesn't train. The effort is at the absolute minimum. This man, Ciryl Gane. I mean, what the hell happened to this dude? This man looked phenomenal for years and then goes in there, loses a tight one against Francis. He looked good on the feet. You could argue, is anybody going to, train grappling when you're about to fight Francis? No, unless you're about to take him down. But takedown defense against Francis, you're not expecting it. So you could have argued it there. You could argue John Jones is just a man. But when you go out there, and we all know he lost Alexander Volkov, when you go out there and just put on a shit performance like that, you're done, man. You're not going to touch Tom Aspinall. You're not going to touch John Jones. You're not going to touch any of these guys anymore. I don't even think he could touch Curtis Blades. That's how I just think we're over it, man. He's lost all the stock in the world. As Alexander Volkov is raising up, this man, Ciryl Gane, is lower than ever. In heavyweight division, outside of us getting one of the biggest fights ever with John Jones and, Tom Aspinall, whoever wins that fight and goes on to either, if John Jones goes on to retire or he loses and Tom Aspinall takes over, the future of the heavyweight division is dog water. Like, who do you got? Who you got to fight him? He's already beat everybody. All these guys have already beat everybody. Between John Jones, Stipe, and Tom Aspinall, there is nobody out there that will fight anymore. This is terrible unless they want to re-sign Francis. So I just don't know. But Ciryl Gane, you could get released for all I care. My goodness. And then number 3, this one starts to kind of hit home a little bit. This is where it starts to kind of really hurt. We got to be honest here. Gilbert Burns, I'm sorry, my guy, you fell off. You know, we could argue last year when you lost to Bilal Muhammad that we could really tell you just don't have it anymore. But this year, when you lose to two up-and-comer killers, where, again, no shame at all to lose to somebody like Sean Brady and JDM, but when you do lose after being in the top 5 for years and years and years and, you know, being a former title contender, you know, buddy, we got to be honest here, man. You just don't have it anymore. You're a little too old. You're about to be 40 years old if you're not already. We've seen you. You got so much tape out there. You get your ass handed to you. So I hate to say it, you just fell off, you know, and there again, like I said, he could still end up fighting Colby Covington and maybe getting a win here and there. He could beat somebody like Jorge Masvidal probably, but when it comes to the top echelon of the division, he's done with. His title hope's done with. So Gilbert Burns, I love you, but it hurts to say, but you're done, buddy. You fell off. And the next guy, again, hurts a lot. Big fan favorite here, but after his only chance, I think, to ever really take off and become a champion was this year, not only because he actually had a title fight, but just the matchups that he has. When you fight Sugar Sean O'Malley as your Chito Vera, and this is your only chance probably to win, because you're not going to beat a guy like Aljo or Marab or Umar, because we all know this man's going to get destroyed by him. But when it comes to a pure, just technical, striking match, that was Chito Vera's one chance, and he goes out there and gets absolutely demolished by Sugar Sean O'Malley, and then goes out there and gets absolutely demolished by Divas and Figueiredo. So, again, still plenty of fights out there for him. He hasn't fallen off when it comes to, like, you just suck. It's just, you're not going to be a champion. You're not going to be in the top 5 anymore. So, Chito Vera, I hate to say it, buddy, but you fell off. And then we go into our next one, number 5. Probably hurts me the most because it's probably my personal favorite on this list, but Jared Cannonier, buddy, you had a great run. The amount of divisions that you've ran through and the way that you've changed your life, absolutely phenomenal. But, buddy, when you lose to Nasruddin Memavov and Cal Borrelio in the same year after a weird 2023, buddy, at 40-something years old, you fell off. I'm sorry, man, but I'm excited. He still has maybe a couple more fights in him. I know he's got another fight here in, February or something. It could be fun, but he's maybe a fight or two away from retiring. So we go to the next one, number 6. And you can argue this guy right here was probably 2023's top 5 breakout fighter of the year. Benoit Saint Denis, buddy. You fell off. When you go out there and get your confidence taken, like we have seen many of times, a loss isn't necessarily the worst for people. Look at Joaquin Buckley. I just talked about him on my Breakthrough Fighters of the Year. This man, we have watched him get knocked out. We've watched him get decision. We've watched him get his ass handed to him. But he never gives up. He's resilient as hell, and he comes out there and gets the job done. But people like Benoit Saint Denis, who has been so dominant forever, and you go out there and get your ass handed to you by somebody like Dustin Poirier, and then your confidence is absolutely shot, and you lose to somebody like Hanato Moicano, buddy, you fell off. Your confidence is gone. You're losing. You're not going to beat anybody like Islam or any of the top guys. So with that being said, buddy, you're done. You fell off. I just don't see him winning many more. I think his confidence is completely shocked. I wouldn't be surprised at all if this man's out of the UFC by 2026. So you guys let me know. Hopefully I'm wrong about that one. And then my last one I want to talk about, again, probably on the 2023's Prospect of the Year or Breakthrough Art, Fighter of the Year, Vitor Petrino. Sure, your loss against Dustin Jacoby, cool. Dustin Jacoby's a dog. He is good. I like him, but he's not a top echelon guy. But it was a fun fight. But when you go out there and lose to Anthony Lionheart Smith, you don't deserve to be in the UFC at all, buddy. This man doesn't even know he's fighting half the time. He thinks he's either losing one of his friends, and I'm not hating, I'm not saying it because that's sad, but he thinks he's either losing one of his friends or his house is getting robbed every time he's in there. So he's not even in there, and you lose to him, you get choked out by him. Vitor Petrino, you came into the UFC, especially into 2024, undefeated, and you lose both of your fights. You're out of here. See you later. You fell off, buddy. And then I want to just add some honorable mentions that I want to kind of predict early that I think for next year that it's officially that they're either done or retired. But you could have probably argued by now that they have fallen off. But with one loss, I just don't feel like it's fair yet. Justin Gaethje, I think his title hopes are completely gone. We've kind of witnessed that. But I think the highlight reel after this knockout with Max Holloway, it could be the start of the end. And I think he's mentioned before, if he gets knocked out like that again, he's going to retire. But, I don't want to sit there and say you fell off after losing to Max Holloway. But it is an honorable mention that I think it's time that Justin Gaethje's about done. So Brian Ortega is another one. You lost to Diego Lopez. Sure, it's tough. You've lost to your Max Holloways. You lost to Volk. But every time I think I give up on the guy, he goes out there and kills Yair Rodriguez when I'm just absolutely mind blown. So I'm not sure if he quite fell off yet, but we see it all the time with him mentally. He's always acting like he's not sure if he wants to fight. He takes super long periods off. I just don't think he's got it in him anymore. But again, I don't think I'm willing to cut him off over one loss against Diego Lopez. Beneil Dariush, I think his age and everything is caught up to him. I think we're really going to find out here in like 2 months when this man fights Renato Moicano. I think he has fallen off, but I'm not quite ready for it after a loss to Charles and Arman. Like, those guys are dogs. Those guys are fighting for the championship right now. So, and then you got Leon Edwards and Robert Whitaker both. Leon, after the Blom fight, I don't think I'm ready to, but we have watched him quit many of times before, and I just think the confidence might be shot, and I think he's already it's tough when you go out there and you set out to become champion and get a title defense or two, and you do that. I just don't know if he's got the same drive as he did just a couple years ago. So, again, he's going to have to really fight his way up against Shavkat and them, but that's why I think he might fall off. Shavkat, JDM, Joaquin Buckley, all these guys are just killers right now, and he's a little older. He's already done his thing. I don't know if he's as hungry. And, of course, with Robert Whitaker, it just sucks to say, as good as this man is, he just keeps losing to the top of the top, and it hurts. So you guys let me know who you guys think fell off or who you guys might think is going to fall off. And as always, your boy, Steven Moustaris. And I hope you guys have a great holidays. And let's go, baby.